So I have with me the most insane IEM tips I have ever seen. These are called the Jijuma-BRAS and they're by a company called Laser Lab. I never heard of them before, but apparently they are Japanese, so go figure. Anyway, these Jijuma tips are called brass because they have these metal pieces in the center. And you might be saying, well, this is nothing we haven't seen before. The Pentagon Core ear does something similar. But that's not true because these tips have the metal pieces that go actually inside your ear, while the silicone on the back here, it forms the stem that goes towards the nozzle of your IEM. So it's effectively like a flipped over, upside down, inverted ear tip. This is what I mean. Here's an IEM, and when I put it on, it fits like this. Isn't this odd? Now, how does this actually go inside your ear? Wouldn't this, skirt almost flip over? But that's not true. Here's my measuring mic, and we'll pretend this is my ear. You can see that when I put it in, it goes in actually anticlimactically really easily. It just fits and it's surprisingly stable. There's no flipping or anything like that. It just goes in. So what's actually happening inside your ear is that this silicone piece, this skirt, forms effectively a cone, a seal in your ear canal, and it allows this metal piece to effectively, suspend and float in the center. It's almost like an extension of the nozzle here. Now, it's surprisingly comfortable given how weird it is, but obviously if you try to push it in too far, this metal piece starts, poking around your ear canal and it's not that comfortable. But otherwise, it surprisingly works. Now, one other interesting design element of this is that there's a couple of holes in the center of it. So there's a hole in the brass here, and there's a hole in the stem, this nozzle piece. Not entirely sure why its creators thought it was necessary, but hey, you don't really question when they make something like this, right? In terms of the sound, I think what actually really impacts the sound is, like I said, this acts as an extension of the nozzle. So what you get is a deep-fitting IEM with a shallow sound. And this is what I mean. When I split it in, you can see most of the ear tip actually goes in, so you get a deep fit, stable feel. But most of the nozzle is still outside of your ear, so you get that shallow fitting sound. So if we compare the Jijuma to a regular IEM tip like the AET07, we can see that it does add some lower treble presence around the 4 to 5 kHz. It also strangely broadens out the resonance peak in the mid treble and rolls off quite a bit in the upper treble. Now, this graph shows the effect of the different insertion depths. You can see how the shallower the fit, the more the lower treble is exaggerated and the sharper that resonance peak becomes. This is a good lesson in tips because personally, I think the 7K resonance is representative of how I hear these tips. It's weird because you get this lift in the lower treble, but at the same time, a roll-off in the upper treble. So the timbre of your hats and cymbals become kind of odd because it's forward, but doesn't really shimmer. But honestly though, it's not that bad after you get used to it, at least compared to what you might think initially. I can see it helping with some IEMs, but it's kind of like trying to find a problem to a solution. It also costs about $35 USD, so it's not exactly cheap. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Would you buy it?